Hi everybody, Ia here, and I'm still not used to this. Anyway, in this video, we first discuss the three persuasive appeals. Persuasion has been present for thousands of years, but it was Aristotle who identified the three main elements that make persuasion successful. These elements are famously called the rhetorical triangle and consist of logos, pathos, and ethos. Although there is also a fourth one called kairos, or considering the right time for persuasion, we will focus on the first three. Let's start with logos, or the logical appeal. The University of Louisville defines logos as an appeal to reason. This appeal focuses on your argument's content, your facts, data, and evidence. To use this effectively, your argument must be clear, consistent, and backed up by credible information. Logical appeal is about proving your point through sound reasoning rather than just opinion or emotion. Next is pathos, or the emotional appeal. Tracy argues that pathos may be the most powerful of the three. Why? Because humans are emotional creatures, and connecting with your audience on an emotional level often leads to the strongest motivation for change. Pathos lets you evoke feelings like hope, fear, joy, or empathy that push your audience toward action or shift in perspective. Finally, we have ethos, the appeal to credibility. Hyde explains that ethos is more than just having a good reputation. It involves three key components. First, practical wisdom, or showing you know what you're talking about. Virtue, or demonstrating good moral character. And goodwill, or showing you care about your audience's best interest. Ethos helps build trust, which is critical because no amount of logic or emotional appeal will work if the audience doubts your character or intentions. Most importantly, ethos depends on the content and thoughtfulness behind your speech and who's talking, not just how you deliver it. The success of persuasive communication relies on how well you integrate these three appeals ethically. Now that we know what makes persuasion effective, I will now guide you to writing persuasive speeches. One major trap speakers fall into is the use of fallacies. According to Merriam-Webster, a fallacy is a false idea or deceitful argument that sounds plausible but isn't logically valid. Some common fallacies include ad hominem, ad misericordiam, non sequitur, and red herrings. An article titled Business Writing for Success points out that fallacies, intentional or not, can momentarily sway emotions but ultimately weaken your speech by lacking substance. The best way to avoid fallacies is to be direct, clear, and substantive in your information while still maintaining logical flow. Speaking of logical flow, a highly recommended structure for persuasive speeches is Monroe's motivated sequence, developed in the 1930s by Alan Monroe. This five-step technique helps guide the audience through a clear path toward action. The first step is to grab attention. Use a quote, a startling fact, or a provocative question that resonates with them. Knowing your audience helps tailor this step effectively. Second, identify the need. Here you explain why there is a problem that demands attention. Answer the questions, why is this change necessary, and why does this problem matter to the audience? This step creates urgency. Third, satisfaction. Propose and explain your solution clearly. Break down the steps involved and any factors that could affect the implementation. Your audience should feel confident about how the solution works. Next, help your listeners picture the positive outcomes if the problem is solved. This is called visualization. Use vivid language to paint this picture so they can emotionally and logically see the benefits. And lastly, call to action. End with a strong push for your audience to take specific steps immediately. Johansson reminds us that coercion and manipulation should never be part of persuasion. Instead, honesty and integrity win the audience's respect. Acknowledging the complexity of issues and presenting facts without distortion makes your argument stronger and fosters trust. But how do you respect audience autonomy while persuading? First, persuasion should never violate the audience's freedom to think for themselves. Truman defines audience autonomy as the listener's right to decide based on their own beliefs, values, and experiences. Uvisa describes a spectrum of persuasion ranging from subtle nudges that gently suggest an idea to stronger, more assertive tactics. The ethical persuader stays aware of this spectrum and always respects autonomy by maintaining transparency, being clear about intentions and not hiding facts or pushing the math. Successful persuasion balances guiding the audience while still honoring their independent judgment. Besides Monroe's motivated sequence, there are other effective ways to organize persuasive speeches. First, the problem cause solution. According to Jones in 2004, this format dives directly into defining the problem and linking it to its cause before presenting a solution. Here, the speaker proves the problem's existence and relevance, explains what causes it, and then offers actionable solutions. Often, these solutions may be presented on different levels: personal, community based, or broader social solutions. Next, comparative advantage. This approach shows why one idea or policy is better than others. Schechter explains that this format is common in policy debates, demonstrating why, for example, being vegan is better than eating meat, and then explaining why. But how do you become critical when listening to persuasive speeches? The University Interscholastic League provides helpful tips for critically evaluating speeches. Focus on how well the content supports the topic, the depth and relevance of the analysis, whether the speaker uses logos, pathos, and ethos effectively, and then the speech's organization. Did the introduction grab attention? Did the body make strong points? Was the conclusion solid? As a listener, asking these questions helps you discern the quality and persuasiveness of a speech. You may ask, what is the importance of effective persuasive communication? Well, Van Shore highlights 6 reasons why. First, it builds trust. A persuader with confidence and integrity earns genuine trust. Second, it encourages action. Effective persuasion motivates others towards positive actions and solutions. Next, it promotes understanding. When used ethically, persuasion can improve relationships and mutual comprehension. Fourth, it enhances other communication skills, because persuasion demands clear, well structured speaking and listening skills. Fifth, it facilitates negotiation. Persuasion helps find middle ground and resolve conflicts peacefully. And lastly, it drives positive change. It empowers people to influence others constructively and advocate for causes. Perry differentiated a convincer and a persuader by saying that convincers are people who want only to impose their view to their audience, and persuaders are people who respect audience autonomy and use logical arguments to inspire action. However, persuasion can still happen outside formal settings. Cialdini's classic principles of persuasion are applied in day-to-day life in the form of reciprocity, or giving something to receive something in return. It's like giving someone a birthday gift because you're expecting them to give something to you in return on your birthday. Next, scarcity. It's creating urgency by stressing limited availability. Next, authority. Wearing the uniform of expertise or status to build trust. Fourth, commitment and consistency. It encourages small positive changes that lead to bigger shifts. Fifth, liking. It's building rapport by being likable and trustworthy. And last, consensus. It's using social proof to encourage others to follow a group norm. But of course, persuasive speech is still evident in formal settings. In debates, Basabe and He found that debaters who use persuasive argumentation, which is logical justification in emotive language, perform better and have stronger influence on their audience. Knowledge of the topic greatly increases effectiveness as well. Meanwhile, in advocacy, Goodman and others explain different advocacy types. In self-advocacy, it involves speaking up for personal needs. In peer advocacy, it is the collective efforts by people with shared beliefs. And lastly, the citizen advocacy involves community members and leaders raising collective issues. Lastly, in politics, Anyan Wu and Onua in 2022 emphasized that persuasive speech is critical in politics, especially for mobilizing youth in voting, donations, protests, and activism.
So, overall, persuasive communication is a key part of effective communication. Ethical use of logic, emotion, and credibility can help you inspire and empower your audience. Whether you want to succeed in everyday conversations, formal speeches, or political advocacy, mastering these principles can make all the difference. And this has been Iya, your OrgCom tutor, and see you in Persuasion.